Good evening and salam keluarga Malaysia. You're watching News at 10. I'm Brendan Nepal. Making the headlines tonight. Stern actions for those selling subsidized petrol to foreigners. Automotive industry faces acute manpower shortage. And thanks for your company. Now, traders are reminded not to take advantage of the reopening of the country's borders, which began on 1st April, to raise the prices of their goods. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Dato Sri Alexander Nathalinggi said the reopening of country's borders will certainly ramp up the economic sector, with the arrival of foreign tourists simultaneously increasing demand of certain goods in the market.
Pantau harga dan juga pantau bekalan, ya, harga berpatutan. Ini untuk memastikan pematuhan yang tinggi di kalangan peniaga berikutan penubuhan pembukaan sepenuhnya sektor ekonomi dan pintu sempadan.
He said this in a media conference after officiating of Pantau 2022 and additional report hotlines in line with the Ramadan and Hari Raya Idul Fitri festive season. KPD and HEP will increase enforcement and surveillance during the festive season to ensure consumers can always obtain their necessities at a reasonable price. It will be done in a focused and uniform manner throughout the country, with the focal points being places like Ramadan bazaars, Idul Fitri bazaars, public markets, supermarkets and grocery stores. Petrol station operators selling subsidized petrol to foreign registered vehicles, including motorcycles, will face stern action. Dato Sri Alexander Nathalinggi said his ministry has periodically issued instructions to all petrol companies and petrol station operators near the Singapore border to ensure that the RON 95 petrol sales ban is enforced. In a statement today, he said the ministry has also ordered all state ministry offices bordering Singapore and Thailand to intensify monitoring and inspections, as well as to take stern action against any party that violates the Control of Supplies Act 1961, Act 122, and Control of Supplies Regulations 1974. Dato Sri Alexander said the ministry views the matter seriously after the issue went viral with allegations that vehicles bearing Singapore registration plates were seen being filled up with yellow nozzle pumps, which usually are reserved for RON 95 petrol. He also said the ministry's enforcement division has been instructed to conduct an immediate investigation and be more aggressive in its monitoring efforts at all petrol stations, especially those near border states, to avoid leakages of subsidized petrol to foreign vehicles. In addition, the minister said more aggressive enforcement activities will also be conducted with the launch of Pantau 2022 today to ensure that supplies of products are adequate and sold at affordable prices. Stern action will be taken against petrol station owners in Johor who allow foreign registered vehicles to fill up RON 95. Johor Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry Director Muhammad Hairul Anwar Bohro today said he had instructed enforcement officers to monitor petrol stations in the state to ensure vehicles with foreign registration numbers did not get RON 95 petrol. He said the ban on the sale of RON 95 petrol to non-Malaysian vehicles had been enforced since the 1st of August 2010. Muhammad Hairul added that KPD and HEP will investigate the matter where photos of several vehicles with foreign registration numbers filling RON 95 petrol were shared on the internet. He also said that the public can also provide information including photos and the location of petrol stations if they come across a vehicle with a foreign registration number filling up with RON 95 petrol. Pictures of vehicles with Singapore registration numbers filling up on RON 95 believed to be at petrol stations in Johor Bahru were spread on social media after the borders reopened on Friday. According to Muhammad Hairul, petrol station owners found to have sold RON 95 to foreigners could be investigated under the Control of Supplies Act. Those found guilty face a maximum fine of 1 million ringgit, or up to 3 years jail, or both. Companies are liable to a fine of up to 2 million ringgit for the first offence and up to 5 million ringgit for the second and subsequent offences. Malaysia's national automotive manufacturing (NAM) industry is facing an acute shortage of workers. Proton Vendor Association President Datuk Dr. Wan Muhammad Wan Embong said the NAM ecosystem might collapse with the loss of more than 500,000 jobs and wiping out up to 4.5% of national gross domestic product (GDP) if the manpower issues in the industry are not addressed promptly. He said Malaysia should allow foreign workers intake with no further delay and lower the recalibration costs of illegal immigrant workers in order to address the shortage. The current cost for legalization of illegal foreigners stands at 4,500 ringgit per person, which he claimed is prohibitively expensive, especially when the companies are struggling to recover from the pandemic, lockdowns and recent floods. Dr. Wan Muhammad also stressed that hiring of foreign workers does not rob locals from job opportunities, as the industry has been putting lots of efforts in hiring locals. He explained the current situation is that because vendors do not have enough workers and cannot produce the parts, thus affecting the other vendors and causing the production to not move as targeted. Many car buyers had to wait longer for their vehicles after orders have been placed with a maximum waiting period of 4 months. Muslims around the country thronged markets, bazaars and shopping centres as they made preparations to buy essential items to usher in the holy month of Ramadan beginning today. Traders also raked in good sale from weekend shoppers who mostly sought basic necessities. When met by reporters, shoppers and traders expressed their gratitude and regarded the Ramadan month this time as more meaningful, seeing that the country is now in the transition to endemic phase, which has seen some standard operating procedures (SOPs) relaxed.
Alhamdulillah dah lega untuk para peniaga sebab selepas 2 tahun pandemik, tahun lepas dan tahun ini merupakan tahun yang bernafaslah untuk para peniaga penjaja bazar Ramadan untuk cari rezeki dan bulan puasa. Sebab waktu bulan puasa ni kebanyakannya diorang ada rezeki lebih untuk sara kehidupan keluarga.
Alhamdulillah kita boleh buka macam biasa kat sini. Sebelum ni 2 tahun yang kita boleh buka tapi dengan keadaan semasa Covid tak sama kan. Sebab dia ada pagar, dia ada banyak ni kan. Tapi tahun ni alhamdulillah dia macam bagi banyak kelonggaran supaya kita senang nak meniaga macam sebelum ni.
Meanwhile, Lorong Tuanku Abdul Rahman Hawkers and Traders Association President Ashalim Suradi is also confident that traders will comply with the standard operating procedures as a sign of support to the government in combating the COVID-19 pandemic.
Persediaan diorang dah faham sebab COVID ni agak panjang, jadi setiap langkah daripada SOP yang awal terlalu ketat hingga dilonggarkan, peniaga-peniaga semua dah faham tentang ini. Dan kita selaku penganjur pun kita ada SOP lagi. Contoh dia jarak setiap lot 1 meter masih ada. Dan pengunjung masih perlu scan MySejahtera.
To further enliven the month of Ramadan in the state, the Johor government has decided to allow breaking of fast events to be held at suraus and mosques. State Exco Muhammad Farid Muhammad Khalid said, however, attendance is limited to 50 people. He added that if there were more than 50 people, the management of the mosque and surau must provide packed food for the congregants that attend later. The standard operating procedures (SOPs) for breaking of fast also allowed serving concept if the number of congregates attending is less than 20 people. Muhammad Farid said other than breaking of fast, other SOPs already in place are to remain the same as before. Congregational prayers have been allowed to no longer require spacing between prayer mats, and the capacity of the mosque depends on the size of the facility. Furthermore, cooking in surau and mosques are not yet allowed, including for bubur lambuk, which has been a tradition previously. However, distribution of bubur lambuk at mosques is permitted. And still to come, COVID claims now grouped under occupational disease. Stay with us. The number of new COVID-19 cases in the country dropped to 14,692 yesterday, with 99.46% in categories 1 and 2. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said this brings a cumulative figure to 4,234,087 cases since the outbreak about 2 years ago. Elaborating further through a statement released today, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham said 8,557 cases, or 58.24% of the latest infections, are in Category 1, and 6,056 cases, or 41.22%, are in Category 2. He said there are 27 cases in Category 3, 19 cases in Category 4, and 33 cases in Category 5. He said 261 cases are still receiving treatment in the intensive care unit ICU, with 153 cases requiring ventilators. A total of 663 cases were admitted to hospital yesterday, with 285 cases from categories 3 to 5 and the rest from categories 1 and 2. Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham added that 20,383 recoveries were reported yesterday, bringing the cumulative figure for recovered cases to 3,997,786. On the use of dedicated health facilities for COVID-19 cases, he said ICU bed occupancy in Kuala Lumpur was 67%, while Selangor recorded 50% usage yesterday. The COVID-19 infectivity rate in the country was 0.85, with Selangor still registering the highest at 1.06, while Kelantan and Sabah have the lowest rate at 0.68. And right now we have another vaccine update for you, and we would like to take you to it. So let's have a view. In a related development, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham said a total of 6,129 children aged between 5 and 11 years have completed 2 doses of the COVID-19 vaccination under the National COVID-19 Immunization Program for Children PIC Kids as of yesterday. Based on the COVID Now website, a total of 1,346,625 children, or 38% of the child population in Malaysia, have received the first dose of the vaccine. Meanwhile, a total of 15,844,706 individuals, or 67.3% of the adult population in the country, have received the COVID-19 booster dose. 22,954,459 individuals, or 97.6% of the adult population, have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, while 23,230,239, or 98.8%, have received at least 1 dose of the vaccine. For adolescents aged 12 to 17, a total of 2,853,182 individuals, or 91.7% of the group, have completed the vaccination, while 2,949,478, or 94.8%, have received at least 1 dose of the vaccine. Meanwhile, 56 deaths due to COVID-19 were recorded yesterday, with Perak, Selangor and Kuala Lumpur recording the highest number of fatalities with 10 cases, followed by Johor, 8, and Kedah with 7. Malacca recorded 3 cases, Negeri Sembilan and Pahang recorded 2 cases each, while Pulau Pinang, Sabah, Sarawak and Terengganu reported 1 death each. With effect from the 1st of April, all COVID-19 related benefit claims are being processed as occupational disease claims. The Social Security Organisation, SOCSO, however, said contributors eligible to receive COVID-19 benefits have now been limited to certain professions. Commenting further on the matter through a statement released today, SOCSO said, if contributors wish to make COVID-19 benefit claims, it is still up for consideration, but it will be limited to occupations that are exposed to biological agents and infections. The statement also said that the application will be processed as an occupational disease, and the eligible insured persons will receive benefits under the Occupational Disaster Scheme or Disability Scheme. This covers temporary disability, permanent disability, retirement pension, disability pension, and funeral management benefits. SOCSO added that previously COVID-19 benefit claims were processed as an employment injury instead of an occupational disease, as it wanted to help affected workers. The move to now process COVID-19 benefit claims as an occupational disease was in line with the announcement made by Prime Minister Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob that the country was transitioning into the endemic phase from the 1st of April. For COVID-19 benefit claim applications involving contributors who were confirmed positive before the 1st of April, SOCSO said the claims would still be processed as an employment injury. SOCSO added that the 5th schedule of the Employment Social Security Act 1969 underlined occupational diseases as those arising out of and in the course of employment. As COVID-19 was listed as a disease specified in the 5th schedule, it could be considered as an occupational disease if it met prescribed conditions. And in other news, Johor Police today denied the incident in which a Malaysian allegedly injured and robbed a Singaporean following a video and photographs of the incident going viral on social media. Now, it was revealed that the video and photographs in question had previously went viral before in 2014 and had simply been reviraled. Johor Police Chief Dato' Kamarul Zaman Mamat said the Royal Malaysia Police also issued a statement on 2nd November last year regarding the matter. He said the spread of such fake videos and photos was seen as an attempt to create fear among the public, especially Singaporean tourists who came to the country via Johor. The act of spreading and making false speculation is illegal, and action can be taken under Section 233 of the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998. Dato' Kamarul Zaman said the individual could be fined not more than 50,000 ringgit or jailed for a year, or both if convicted. The public is advised not to easily believe allegations obtained from unknown sources, as well as those using false information. Now, teams playing in the Malaysia League M-League will no longer be allowed to postpone their matches on account of their players and officials being confirmed COVID-19 positive. Malaysian Football League MFL Chief Executive Officer Stuart Ramalingam said this is to ensure the smooth running of M-League 2022. In a statement, Stuart explained that as at 16 March, or a period of 12 competition days after the kick-off of the M-League, MFL had postponed 16 matches involving the Super League, Premier League and FA Cup because of COVID-19 infections among club officials and players. He said the postponement of several matches has clearly affected the scheduling for the Super League and Premier League, especially the rest period and travel for clubs and planning of the national team. He further noted that the problem was made worse when several ties were postponed just one day before the match, when the opposing team and match officials had already arrived in the state of the host team. Apart from the time constraint faced in rescheduling postponed matches, he said there was also the problem of higher costs incurred by the affected parties in terms of organisation, logistics, broadcasting and security. In a related development, the MFL announced several new protocols that would be enforced, including giving clubs 2 options in the event their officials or players are tested positive for COVID-19. According to Stuart, clubs are now given temporary exemption to use officials from the reserve team, President's Cup or Youth Cup to fill the vacancies. For affected players, clubs are allowed to register players from the reserve team, President's Cup or Youth Cup into the main squad lineup. Stuart said if clubs do not follow this procedure and fail to hold matches without a reasonable excuse, the MFL would refer the matter to the MFL Board of Directors for action. He said errant clubs could be penalised with the award of a 3-0 win and 3 points to the opposing team, and be liable to bear the logistics costs of their opponents, match and broadcast expenditure, as well as transport-related charges, accommodation and food for match officials. He also said postponements could only be considered if both teams agree to play within the FIFA days period, without players who might be called up for national duty. And that concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story, stern action for those selling subsidized petrol to foreigners. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. Till then, it's lights out. I'm Berita RTM. Salam keluarga Malaysia. Have an awesome week and good night.